grab your popcorn, turn off the lights, and get ready to embark on a terrifying journey. We're about to dive deep into the most haunted, unsettling places on Earth. So, if you're ready to face the unknown, join me as we step into the shadows and uncover the chilling stories that have been buried for centuries. Poveglia Island, located just off the coast of Venice, is a place so steeped in terror it has become legendary, a cursed island whose very name sends shivers down the spine. To approach it is to step into a realm where the lines between the living and the dead blur, where sorrow and torment have woven themselves into the land itself. Few dare to venture near it, and even fewer return unscathed. Once called the Island of No Return, Poveglia has a dark, twisted past, and its haunting reputation is deservedly earned. The island's history dates back centuries, and it is marred by death and tragedy. In the 14th century, when the Black Plague swept through Europe, Poveglia was repurposed as a quarantine station. The sick were shipped here, exiled from the city of Venice, condemned to die on the island's isolated shores. Those with the disease were abandoned, left to rot in isolation, their bodies piling up as they succumbed to the devastating plague. Thousands perished on the island, their names forgotten, but their spirits remain, trapped in a world between the living and the dead. It is said that the souls of the plague victims are still here, haunting the overgrown, decaying buildings, their restless spirits crying out for release. But the horrors of Poveglia did not end with the plague. Centuries later, in the early 20th century, the island was transformed into a psychiatric asylum, and it is this chapter of the island's history that adds another layer of darkness to its already twisted legacy. The asylum was a place of suffering. Patients were often subjected to inhumane treatments, forced into isolation, and subjected to barbaric therapies that no civilized mind would ever conceive. The most notorious of these treatments was performed by one physician, a doctor whose methods were so cruel that he became infamous among the island's patients. The doctor believed in extreme measures, performing experiments in a vain attempt to cure his patients' mental illness. His treatments included lobotomies and electroshock therapies that left patients in agony, both mentally and physically. But it wasn't just the suffering that haunted the asylum. As the doctor's grip on reality began to slip, his own mind started to unravel. It is said that in the end, his madness consumed him. One fateful day, he climbed to the top of the island's bell tower, looked down at the patients below, and threw himself to his death. His body was found crushed beneath the bell tower, but some believe that his spirit never truly left. Many who visited the island claim to have heard strange noises in the vicinity of the bell tower, a strange, distant, ringing sound that seems to come from nowhere. Some say they hear footsteps in the halls of the abandoned asylum. Others report seeing shadowy figures moving in and out of the crumbling buildings, as if they were the doctor himself, still trapped in a cycle of torment. As the decades passed, the asylum fell into disrepair, and the island was abandoned, left to rot in silence. Today, the island is off limits to the public, its ruins slowly being reclaimed by nature. But the darkness of its past still lingers in the air, thick and oppressive. It's as if the very land is suffused with the pain and anguish of those who once lived and died here. Those few brave souls who have managed to sneak onto the island claim to have felt an overwhelming sense of dread, a suffocating weight pressing down on them as they walk through the crumbling ruins. They speak of cold spots that seem to appear out of nowhere, of strange whispers that seem to come from the trees, and of the unmistakable sensation of being watched, as if the very island itself is alive with the spirits of the past. One of the most chilling aspects of Poveglia is the eerie silence that surrounds it. The island is devoid of life. No animals roam its land. No birds fly over its shores. It's as if nature itself refuses to have anything to do with the cursed land. The only sounds that break the silence are the occasional creaking of the abandoned structures and the wind that seems to howl through the overgrown vegetation. But listen closely, and you might hear something more. A soft whisper, the sound of footsteps in the distance, or a faint voice calling your name, just out of reach. And when the wind picks up, it almost feels like the spirits of the plague victims and asylum patients are moving through the trees, trying to communicate with the living. Perhaps the most haunting part of Poveglia is the bell tower, once used to announce the arrival of new plague victims, and later to mark the hours in the asylum. The tower stands as a symbol of the island's tragic history. The bell, which no longer rings, is said to still toll on dark, foggy nights, though there's no one left to pull the ropes. Some visitors report hearing the bell toll in the dead of night, a sound that sends a chill up the spine. Others claim the sound of the bell is the island's way of calling out for more victims, drawing in the curious and the foolish who dare to set foot on its cursed soil. There are countless ghost stories and reports of paranormal activity surrounding Poveglia. Some say they've seen the ghosts of plague victims, pale, gaunt figures drifting silently through the ruins, their eyes empty and lifeless. Others speak of hearing the screams of patients who died in the asylum, their anguished cries carried on the wind. And then there are those who've seen dark, shadowy figures lurking in the corners of the old buildings, their forms indistinct, like black smudges against the moonlight. These figures are said to follow visitors, watching them, waiting for them to make a mistake, to stray too far into the island's cursed heart. The island itself seems to possess a dark energy that invades the minds of those who visit. Some people report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, while others experience physical symptoms, nausea, headaches, and even visions of the island's horrific past. There are even reports of visitors falling ill after spending too long on the island, plagued by nightmares and a sense of unease that doesn't fade even after they leave. The spirits that linger here are not content to stay hidden. They are restless, angry, and desperate to be heard. They want their story told, and they want to make sure that no one forgets the horrors that took place on Poveglia Island. Today, Poveglia remains a ghostly monument to the suffering and madness that once consumed it, abandoned, forgotten, yet never truly gone. The island stands as a chilling reminder of the past, of the thousands who died here, of the cruel experiments conducted in the asylum, and of the restless souls who will never know peace. Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, one thing is certain. Poveglia Island is a place where history refuses to die, and where the spirits of the past continue to haunt the land. The island waits, its silent, crumbling ruins whispering of things that should never have been, and of souls that will never be at rest. If you dare to visit, be warned. The ghosts of Poveglia are always watching, always waiting, and they will never let you forget the horrors that happened here. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join us on this spine-chilling journey into the darkest corners of the world. If you're brave enough, follow us into the unknown and uncover the horrors that lie hidden in history. Stay tuned, because more terrifying tales are coming your way. Until then, sleep tight,